Hey everybody, welcome to List Force Heroes.
That was scary.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare. Coming up on spooky season, I'm
That's
just prepping.
next month.
Just getting ready. Yeah, I don't know what to call it because we're doing a top 10 list.
Tier 4's top 10s.
In the tier style of tiers.
It is technically still a tier. It's just only one thing is allowed in a tier, and there are 10 tiers and 10 items.
Today we're talking about the champions, their descendants, and the whole gang. We got Link and Zelda in there. We were debating on is Zelda a champion in Breath of the Wild, but I guess she's like the princess of the champions.
Her name is in
She's
the
a champion
title.
in my heart.
Her name's in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, Zelda's the girl, by the way.
I think, Corey, you said it best. I kind of feel the same way, where we don't really have a lot of negative things to say about any of the champions.
No.
I think we mostly like them all, some more than others. So we thought maybe let's just do a regular list, a classic ranking, like we used to do back in the good old days. There's not really a lot of caveats otherwise. So is it totem time?
I think it's totem time.
It's totem time.
Totem time.
I'm only going to use one hand this time. Ready?
Sure.
Ready?
You're
And
so
totem!
strong.
Ah!
So look at
job.
this is a tier list.
Yeah, look. This
Clearly.
so our tiers are 1.
Back off, haters. That's a tier list.
One is the best.
The
Three.
next tier is 3.
So this is different. I don't know how we want to assemble this, or like, do we want to go character by character, or does someone want to pitch
Well,
a character they think needs to be at the top or bottom, or
I kind of
Can
think
we do random?
we can still maybe do it the way we normally do, but there'll be a little more moving around.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about Rivali.
Oh.
I guess we don't have to talk about him yet. Right now, he's the #1 champion.
Rivali's top tier
He's technically number
right
1
now.
Let's talk about him versus someone else. How about Corey?
Yeah.
You
Who's going 1v1?
do the whole
1v1 versus
PvP
Rivali.
Rivali.
Who would win in a fight, Rivali or Teba?
Teba. Oh,
That-
do you
that's not the
want to
list.
do Teba and Rivali?
Yeah, let's do
Yeah,
Teba. That's
sure.
what I'm
Okay.
saying.
All right, let's present your case.
Which character is better? I don't know.
My vote goes for Rivali, hands down.
Okay.
I would agree.
I think Rivali. I mean, it's almost a little unfair because most of the champions, the ones that were champions 100 years ago, get more development than all of their descendants. Mostly because especially because of the champions ballad stuff, because that specifically was made to elaborate on them. I love Rivali. I think his whole story, I like his arrogance and how it ties into like his skill and how he's one of the only champions that didn't inherit or was gifted with something that made them great. Like his notes and his little diary thing basically talk about how hard he had to work. Yeah. How hard he had to work to develop his skill. And because of that, like he gained the respect of everyone around him.
And you can see that in the cutscenes. You straight up see that when he's struggling to stay in his updraft, like, and that like
you see him working on it.
You see him like making that determination, and when he successfully does it, like he's kind of a jerk, but he kind of deserves he deserves to be a jerk because he's gone through more than I think some of the other people have gone through. You know, he's arrogant.
Yeah.
I think it's just
I like
understandable, especially in the context of the game, because it's like the princess has to choose a chosen hero, and he's worked so hard, and then some nobody swordsman from like wherever,
Hateno Village,
whose daddy was a knight, is chosen, and he's like, what the heck is this? Like, I've worked so hard, why not me, you know?
Totally. I will
agree.
say,
And
this is more just about the development. I do like, they all do have like more stuff like that. You don't really get that with anyone like Tabo, but what I do think is cool about a lot of the descendants is a lot of what you can like get from them is like not just from dealing with them, but like the whole like the whole village around them and stuff like that. I think you get there is some benefit to those characters of like seeing how other people that they know and live with like also react to things. There's a different character I feel like I can make a more better point about that with than Teba, but you do get a little bit of like, you know, you meet his family, right, and stuff like that, like so I don't know, I still think he's like a pretty interesting character, but
I think he's a great character.
Yeah.
It is unfortunate that basically he just like immediately gets hurt. I mean, that's obviously not like his fault, and that's just like how the story goes. But it's kind of sad to see that he went from, you know, this guy who's helping you out get to the Divine Beast. He's really helpful, and then, you know, you're successful, but he gets hurt and has to just go. It's sort of like a sad. He's got a sad story, a little bit.
I do also associate with these characters too the descendant characters, like you get stuff that endears you to them because you do like, you know, these like missions to get to the Divine Beast with them, and some are a lot of fun. So
that is cool.
Just by virtue of like not just a character argument, you know, or like a gameplay argument. Some of them are a lot of fun, you know.
I will say, two of the descendants I think are more helpful getting to the Divine Beasts than two others. I think he's maybe one of the lesser helpful ones. Yeah, he technically flies you up into the sky, but then
I would agree with that too.
Do everything, you know.
I think that is that's not a super difficult one, getting into the Divine Beast either, but it is one of the most like cinematically stunning.
It's beautiful.
So you're just up in the air like crazy high, floating around. That's a really cool moment. They're all really cool moments.
Doesn't really do anything. I don't know. He's fine, but he's not.
I agree.
That's not necessarily always bad, but yeah, his interaction there isn't that. Yeah, it's not that interesting.
You just feel his presence less in that sequence.
Yeah, you really do. You don't even notice he's there when you're getting into the Divine Beast. You just shoot the 4 little spots, and then you're like, oh, okay, we're done. There's another cutscene. You know. He's
okay. I mean, so
for me.
This is a good list so far.
Good list. Yeah. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Next week we're gonna. I was kidding.
We'll get the rest in over time. Long running series.
Oh god, nobody would watch that.
Watch our monthly top 10.
So I guess it's my turn to throw a cog into the wrench. Like, how's that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
I'm gonna throw in Riju.
You know what's funny? I was thinking you were gonna say that.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
I just totally had like a little psychic moment there.
Okay, here's my reasoning of choosing her. It's probably why you thought I was going to. She is way more there for getting to the Divine Beast. Her help with like the Thunder Helm and everything, which is super cute, by the way. She's a very cute character. I like her a lot. Getting to Naboris with her is difficult. First off, it's a little tricky, but she's much more like interactive in that part than the others are. I think she's probably the second most interactive, and I like her a lot as a character. She's kind of got this like cute little crush on Link. She's a very young leader of the Gerudo village that, you know, just kind of happened and she has to do it. Reading her diary is really cute. Overall, I think she has way more personality than Teba. Although I don't think she's as cool as Rivali. Because, to be fair, Rivali does give you the ability to fly up in the air.
That's pretty cool.
But, the abilities they give you, that's kind of a crucial factor.
Yeah, just a little bit. Like. Those are my base thoughts on Riju.
Do we factor in Age of Calamity?
Do you want to?
I was wondering that.
I will say I think we should, because there is so
we
much.
might as well.
There's so much story with these people, especially
they have a lot of fun
or playing as them.
Both, because there's a lot of fun character moments with all the characters, but also playing as her is wild.
Imagine having
it's very fun whipping around with Patricia.
Yeah, Patricia is your weapon, and I love that.
Yeah. That's great.
Actually, what's funny?
My personal favorite, I think, so far of what we mentioned, but it is for stuff like that. It's like, oh, I love that she rides her. It's like she's cute. She rides this walrus around, and she's silly, and I'm like, yeah, Rivali is a jerk. Even though that does make for, like I said, I agree with everything you said about his story. I think it's very interesting. I'm just like, oh, I like her more. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
I would personally, in this list, I would put Riju in between Rivali and Teba. However, with some conversation, Riju could go above Rivali for me.
That's my vote too, is to put Riju below Rivali, above Teba. I think the biggest thing for her is what you were mentioning, Nico, when you read her diary and learning about like how she inherited this huge responsibility.
Yeah.
And she's following up like the people's favorite, one of the best Gerudo leaders, Urbosa. Everyone loves Urbosa. And now, not only does she have to follow that up, but she has to follow that up being as young as she is. She basically doesn't know what she's doing. Mm-hmm. But she's doing a good job of not letting that show.
And she's still a kid. And she shows that.
Yeah.
Like, she still shows off that she's young and, like...
Yeah.
She's a little silly with Link, when she puts on the thunder helm. That little cutscene is super cute.
That's funny.
She's a good character.
Yeah. That said, I don't think she's as complex as Rivali, and I also liked playing as Rivali more in Age of Calamity. I was big into Rivali in Age of Calamity.
I really did not like playing as him.
I preferred Teba over Rivali in Age of Calamity.
I like both of them.
I don't think either of their play styles really clicked with me. Not to say it's bad.
It's weird.
Yeah,
it really wasn't.
You can do some cool stuff, but it's definitely very different from the other ones.
The ranged attacks are a little.
I love tearing butt across the map with the sand seal or whatever. Yeah. Patricia, that was a lot of fun.
That's fun.
But yeah, I'm okay with the placement. It's fine.
All right. All right. What are we doing next, Lou?
It's your choice to add one
in. Well, okay. I want to talk about Yunobo. Okay. Because a lot of people trash him, and it's one people would say, like, in the example you would give of, like, someone not helping you or whatever. Like in your quest or whatever to progress, I think I like it because it's kind of the point. Like, his storyline is he's the kind of this like scared little coward, and you're helping him along, and he like ends up being part of this, and being helping aid you in this heroic quest, and gaining some confidence. And I don't know, I find that aspect of his character good in a similar way to like how you would argue about Rivali, where I think people just at face value are like, oh, he's a jerk, but it's like, well, yeah, that's because there's like a character here, there's a reason he's this way.
Yeah,
not every character in a story is supposed to be nice and cool. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
That would be
That's
very
so
boring.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I just personally I like Yunobo as a character, and I actually like the quest where you kind of like. Certainly, there's times where I'm like, oh, come on, man, like, let's go.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I overall I actually like that mission, and I think it's funny. I just like Gorons a lot too. I always have a soft spot for Gorons, but I just think it's really fun, like, shooting him at the thing itself, like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was gonna say, like, I feel like he actually does help, or at least gameplay wise, it feels like he helps more because it's so vastly different from the other entering the Divine Beast ones because you actually like launch him at stuff and you have to direct him certain spots and it feels a lot more like a cooperative thing. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of that section, but I think Yunobo gets a little bit too much flack. But that being said, like I don't know. Where would you want to put him? Because I can't think of much that I think he's charming, and I think the cowardice is charming, but I can't think of anything that elevates it.
I would not have him last, at least.
No.
Like right now. I don't know. I would at least put him above Teba, but I don't know.
I will say that part's not my favorite. Like the quest to get into the Divine Beast there. It's like it's not my favorite. It feels like you're babying him along. Like I don't feel like I'm working with him. I feel like I'm just waiting for him. However, character-wise, I think he is wonderful. Because he's like he's the underdog. He's this big burly dude with the tiniest, softest little heart, and he's like afraid of everything. He's young, like he looks up to his ancestor Daruk, who is maybe his dad. I can't remember. I don't remember the lineage.
I love that. So that's like I feel like I think of the whole start, middle, and end with him, at least in just Breath of the Wild proper, and I like. Rescuing him is memorable to me. Going up there is memorable, and then the scene afterwards when he sees Daruk, and like he's
that
like, hey,
is the moment that I think is one of the most emotional cutscenes in the whole game for me. Is Yunobo and Daruk.
That is a good.
It's such a good.
They have a good relationship. They have a good one too in Age of Calamity. They have a good back and forth.
They really do. It makes me so happy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I probably would have put Yunobo at the bottom, but I'm not mad putting him above Teba. I do think in Yunobo's favor, he's kind of dealing with a similar thing to Riju, where like he has ginormous shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Like
his feet are gigantic.
Yeah, they're big Goron feet, man.
Size 20 or... I also feel like unlike Teba, you feel kind of his presence throughout the whole thing. Some people might not like it.
Yeah.
But like, whereas like kind of what you do in the lead up to getting on Meadow is he's like, let's do target practice or whatever, which feels like more of a mini game.
I guess
they all are kind
three
of
targets in 2 minutes. Like
and he's like, all right, good enough, let's go. You know,
can do it in
like
2 seconds.
You did it.
That seems like the least like you've proved. The least like you've proved.
Also, to be fair, the game kind of wants that to be your second Divine Beast, so it should be easier. It sort of like leads you there after going to Zora's Domain, because it like obviously there's no right way to play Breath of the Wild, but like the game sort of leads you to Zora's Domain and then to Rito Village. So I think Rito Village would just generally be easier to get into. So I think maybe that's why. But
I always thought it was strange because Rito Village, everything, the meadow and everything is so much easier to me than everything else. But it's like
the rest of the area,
multiple regions away.
Yeah.
I felt like I was
like it's surrounded by the Heber region, which for me was like one of the most difficult. Easily.
Oh, sure. If you follow that one path though, that goes all the way to Rito Village, you just ride your horse there in 2 minutes, you're done, you know? So,
yeah, I did like a really messed up route, so I can't vouch for that. I did it last.
I always felt like the Goron area was like the second area.
That's what I did. I did that second too.
It's always been my last. I always do it last.
Yeah, because like you go to Hateno and then you got to go to Akala and you discover that stuff and then you go up.
Yeah, and then you avoid Death Mountain and you go to the desert.
Sure. Can we at least put him above Teba?
I would agree. It goes above Teba.
All right.
Okay.
Corey?
Okay.
I mean, you guys, that's, I still don't think I would, but like, I'm not mad about that.
Okay. That's fair. That's kind of how I feel about Rivali or whatever, so.
Yeah.
Trade-off.
All right. So let's throw Link on there.
Really? Okay.
Our protagonist, the guy we're playing as. I want to hear what you two think about Link.
I'm kind of neutral on him. In a lot of games, I'm kind of neutral on Link. I'm not someone who
doesn't talk much.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know. I
like a lot of dialogue.
I like Link, the character I play as in The Legend of Zelda, my favorite game series. You know what I mean? But like, I have always felt like more like my favorite portrayal, or like my favorite like Link is like in Link's Awakening, where it's like it's that literally is like the most like this is a thing that connects you to the game, you know, your avatar. You're meant to kind of feel like, you know, he's seeing things that he knows, and you're, you know, that's the story I like, of like you are Link, you know, in a weird way. So he's kind of a blank slate a little bit. He definitely has more characterization in this than certain games. Certainly not as much as like other games either, but I'm overall pretty neutral on him. I don't like dislike Link, but I love playing the game as Link. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not like I said, I'm not down on it, but certainly I think most of the other characters are like more fun, you know. But that's in a lot of games. Like Link isn't the most fun, interesting character, you know.
No. Well, so I actually think I would argue that this Link has some of the most like not outward expressively characterization, but like this Link has one of the most personal like details compared to some of the other Links, because you get information about who Link is as a person. Like you get the note in Zelda's diary or Zelda's research log or whatever where he actually talks about why he doesn't talk. Mm-hmm. And that's super interesting to me.
Yeah.
That they make Link not talking a conscious choice on his part, but at the same time they include details about like him being an incredibly talented swordsman as a boy, his father being a knight, and that he's a little bit of a glutton. He likes to eat. And you get a cutscene with him eating stuff with Daruk, and it's like some of that stuff doesn't it feels weirdly unnecessary, but it adds to his character in a way that I feel like we don't get a lot with Link.
Yeah, he just has like, I mean, some of the best Links I feel like are just like his little sort of like quirks and reactions, you know.
Yeah.
In this game he hasn't too, or like there's just a lot of cute little things with Link like in there, just even some minor animations and stuff. Well, you know what I mean?
Like when you're cold, like his little shiver. When he's hot, his like.
When you're cooking.
Yeah, when you're cooking.
When he's on fire.
He's like. I love when you eat, and he like pats his stomach, and he's like. Like that was good.
Yeah.
Like a grandpa.
It's certainly more tame than like Wind Waker Link. You know what I mean? It's not as outrageous, but it's the best. It's definitely like hey! He's definitely a lot sillier comparatively to like Ocarina of Time Link, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't even think bad to say about him, but I think, you know.
I also want to point out.
So as a champion.
Can I point out something that has to do with him being a champion is his champion ability, which is bullet time.
Well, he's got all. Oh, bullet time.
Oh.
In my opinion, bullet time is Link's champion ability. And it's engraved inside of him, which is why we have the ability to do so. However, you can use bullet time as any character in Age of Calamity, so maybe that breaks that theory.
Oh, you're
However, that's sort of like his thing in Breath of the Wild, right? Is bullet time.
Shield surfing is actually...
yeah, your ability is shield surfing.
That's what he's good at.
Is
the only thing he can do.
His ability is not having nipples or body hair.
I definitely like playing as Link more than any character in Zelda. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I think Link is phenomenal. This characterization of him is one of my favorites, if not my favorite Link. Toon Link will always be my favorite, but this Link is just great. I think he deserves to be high on the list, but I kind of don't know where to put him yet.
Well, as a champion, we got to look at this through the lens of how is he as a champion?
Yeah.
Well,
he's the chosen hero.
Calamity Ganon.
Well, he does.
On the second try.
He kills Ganon.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, on the second try after sleeping for 100 years and 4 deaths.
Okay, that's better than anyone else did.
It's true.
All these other fools died.
We have a certain champion who is in a perpetual 100-year battle with Ganon.
Okay, so Link's number 2.
Okay, so he's better than Yunobo.
I actually kind of want to put him right there. Like, right below Riju.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, Link... I like Link for all the reasons you guys are saying, but as a protagonist of the game, not as one of my favorite champions, because I don't think there is enough characterization to put him above charming people like Riju and Rivali.
To me, what I like about the story of Zelda games is you are going around and seeing what other people are going through. And granted, this game tries a little bit harder, but yeah, I think like what's interesting, the most interesting thing about Link's character, despite all the like he likes to eat and all that stuff, is he's woken up after 100 years and all his friends are dead. But what's even more interesting about that is seeing how everyone else reacts to him showing up in town, you know? So
yeah.
Champion?
That's yeah, like even like he meets people
who Muzu is like, what?
Yeah,
exactly. So, and maybe that, I mean, that is interesting for him too, but
King Doraphan.
Well, but that's kind of what I mean, is that like all of those cool cutscenes where we learn really cool story stuff and how people are reacting to Link has nothing to do with how cool Link is as a character. Because if you don't collect any memories or anything and you're not learning this stuff for yourself, you could feasibly go and do all this stuff, and the character as Link, like if you put yourself in Link's shoes, you'd just be like, I'm sorry, this isn't ringing a bell. I don't know what you're talking about. And just continue on his journey. Like,
it's true.
That's pretty tragic though too, you know.
Not for Link.
Like, we'd be like, why is everyone mad at me?
That's true.
I'm fine with this placement though. I think fine.
This is actually okay.
Okay, good.
So I don't know what we're talking about anymore.
No, well, what Corey just talked about.
King Doraphan.
But King Doraphan. I'll call you Nuzu. Okay. Speaking of the Zora, let's grab Lady Mipha here.
Oh.
This is a contentious character in the series.
I'm going to propose right off the bat that I think Mipha deserves to be at the top of this list right now.
Really?
Give us the spiel.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I think her story is so sad that she knew Link growing up. She grew up with Link. Like, she's always known him. And they were friends, and she was secretly in love with him. And...
secretly.
And then not so secretly.
And very much not so secretly later. But, when Zelda came and was like, hey, by the way, you're the chosen champion, so we gotta, go take care of that Ganon dude. Mipha very much got left in the dust. And she was like heartbroken because suddenly Link is, traipsing around with the princess, like the princess of Hyrule, not her lowly little Zora princess. But on top of that, her cutscenes are wonderful. She is a wonderful older sister. She's a fantastic older sister. The cutscene in the Champions Ballad with her and Baby Sidon is like one of the best cutscenes in all of Zelda. I love that so much. Where she's just like so encouraging, but like knows that her little brother can do hard things. And so, even though it may have seemed a little dangerous, she knew that he could do it. So she was encouraging. She's smart. She can heal you. She can revive you. She has so much heart and soul, and she's just a wonderful character. And she's a hot fish. I mean, what can I say? I mean, like, she's a cool...
She's not the
Hot
hottest
fish,
fish, though.
No, there's one fish on this list that is hotter than her.
There is a
Hyrulean
no
bass.
spoilers, but there is a hotter fish.
on this list.
And this is what the list is. It's hotness.
But I don't know. I think Mipha is incredible. But what are your thoughts?
Wow, I don't know. Like, sorry, go ahead, Corey.
Mipha's usually around the top of my list, and I think I've been quoted before as saying I think Rivali's my favorite, but I agree. I want to put Mipha at the top because I think she's all of the things you said. I completely agree with, and what's crazy about Mipha is I think she's such a complex character in the way that her relationships to every other important character is unique and drives home her whole thing. Because it's like with Link, secretly madly in love, but she has to sit back because Link is protecting the princess. With Mipha and Daruk, it's like polar opposites, like meek, meager, small girl versus this like big, hulking, proud hero.
Literally made
With
out of
her
rocks.
and with her and her brother, she's fulfilling the role of their mother who's not around anymore. She's super supportive and motherly to him and make sure that he's getting all of his stuff done. To her people and her father, she's super dutiful and fulfilling the role and taking on the role for her people, being like, I'll be the Zora's chosen champion to do this for everyone. And for the princess, it's kind of a thing as well of like she kind of has to step aside a little bit and like watch this other important female in Link's life be a boss lady, and she just kind of has to sit there and like internalize that and play her role. And it's like,
I will say, I think Mipha and Zelda kind of have this really cute friendship though, because they both care so deeply about Link that it's almost like something is pardon me, linking them together. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, it's like I feel like there's a lot of ways that story could have gone that would be bad, and instead it's like, you know,
They're very mature about it.
Yeah,
that's so heartbreaking too, that it's like the detail about how the Zora armor is basically supposed to be like woven or constructed for like her soon to be betrothed, and then like she goes and gets killed, and like the rest of the town like blames Link for it. But I don't know, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I like Mipha a lot.
I'm okay
I'm down
with
for
your
top.
number one right now. I will say none of the characters on the list so far I don't think are like my top 5 characters. So like I don't feel too
Well, one of them
passionate
has to be
about-
because there's only 4 left.
Well, maybe Riju would be like that's what
Wow.
like when I'm looking at that I'm like, oh dang,
Wow.
Riju goes down another spot, but
we can chat about it once everyone's on there, I think.
Mipha's Grace is well too. Whoa,
Puppy time.
Puppy's got an opinion
He
about
just
this.
woke up and started barking. He didn't
Aw.
even hear anything.
What'd you say about Riju?
He's mad Riju's moving down the list. That was who chose Mipha? Me. I chose Mipha.
Okay.
So gooey.
Well, okay. Then I want to talk about Sidon, who is one of my top 3 characters, I think, too, because the thing I like about him, and maybe this is getting into more of just like, oh, I like him more.
Sure.
But like, well, one, he's like really the first one I met, and it was such a memorable introduction.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's like such a fun, quirky personality, like at face value when you first meet him. But one thing that it's like the first thing that stuck out to me about the game's story, other than like, whoa, it's crazy, you can go everywhere, was, like I said, you've woken up 100 years later, all your friends are dead. It was the first village I go to, and everyone's mad at you. Like, well, not everyone, but like people have weird, conflicting feelings about you because they're like, beloved Mipha is dead, but you meet this guy who like totally believes in you,
Yeah.
you know, and I don't know, I just always found that like he like, I mean, it's clearly he's meant to be like an inspiring, you know, he's doing this type of thing, but I don't know, I always found him so like inspiring and like a fun character, and that's what stuck out to me, that like it's his, you know, his sister, but even he knows, you know, like the real context of everything, and he still supports you and he helps you, and you know, the quest, just that whole quest is really fun, of getting, it was so memorable, of getting to Zora's domain while he kind of cheers you on, and then
it's fun,
you know,
yeah,
like mounting him, and
you get to mount him.
That whole thing is,
he's one of the best mounts. Yeah, he's an S tier.
Go watch our mounts video if you haven't. He's one of the best mounts for sure.
And then also, yeah, he's just got one of the most, if we're talking about Hyrule Warriors too, he's fun in that, and like his movesets are crazy and fun.
This is very obvious spoilers for Age of Calamity, but if you're watching our video, that probably doesn't matter to you. Him coming into that, this is overwhelming. I cried so hard when I saw him in Age of Calamity, because he was the first new champion that I saw. Like, because, you know, obviously you can meet all four. And so I didn't know that they were going to be in the game. And so all of a sudden he comes out and he's there to save his sister. And that moment, I just broke down. Because, like, having known their cutscene from the Champion's Ballad and, like, knowing their relationship.
It's like a role reversal.
It's him protecting his older sister, but now he's the one that's grown up. And it's like, it blew my mind. And that moment is just, like, probably my favorite moment in a Zelda game ever that I've experienced, which is funny because it's not even a mainline Zelda game. But like, that moment was so emotional for me because I have such a strong attachment to these two. The brother-sister relationship is so special.
And he was a baby.
He was a baby. And like,
baby Sidon should put him in the #1 spot.
Baby Sidon really should put him at #1. I would agree.
Now that I say it, like, because I was talking about how, like, I don't like how people kind of misjudge Yunobo, or they're like harsh on him, or like even Rivali because of their character, their personality flaws or whatever. But then when I think about my favorite characters, it is like, there are like reasons to back it up, but my favorite thing about them is like, they're the characters I'd most like to have a beer with.
I agree.
Sidon is like fair. He just seems like a great guy to hang out with.
Yeah.
So
very supportive. Probably a great listener.
Yeah.
Are we gonna agree that Sidon is going?
Is he #1 right now? Corey?
That wouldn't be my vote, but
where would you put
pop though?
Anywhere in the top 3, honestly. Like, I love Sidon. The reasons that I love Sidon are completely different from the reasons I love, like, Rivali.
Yeah.
Sidon is charming and alluring and hot and has a great smile, and you can ride him, and you do a lot of really fun stuff with him.
He's like 10 feet tall.
Yeah, that's big fish daddy.
Big fish daddy.
But that being said, like, I don't know, it depends what I'm looking for, you know, because I could also say, like, he is charming and great and supportive, but he's also nothing other than that, like, the whole time.
I don't know.
So compared to Mipha, in my opinion, compared to Mipha and Rivali, like, he just doesn't have the dimensions that they do.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. I sort of feel like, though, that's why it's like the whole story of like Zora's domain. It's like a whole, like, you know what I mean? It's like, what makes his character compelling is that he is, despite everyone else,
is that he's unrelentingly, yeah. You know what would have been great is if, like, he had a journal where he talks about, like, like how he feels like buns sometimes, but he has to put on a brave face for everyone because Mifa told him that was the right thing to do. Or
I almost think
something like that.
he doesn't need that because it's pretty obvious. Like, especially with with what you see between him and Mifa, is that like you see that she taught him to put on that strong face. And that's maybe something he learned from maybe even his mother at a very young age, before she died, or from the King Dorfan. And like, I think it doesn't need to be explained because you can tell he's struggling with a lot. You don't have to like be told that. I mean, you see everything going on around him, but like Gui said, despite it all, he's still so strong and valiant. And like,
it's true.
I don't know.
It's cool to see in like this game where they're all living in ruins mostly. You know, like a lot of the places you go. And
yeah, that's very true.
You meet this guy, and he's as chipper as ever.
Well, so what do you guys say? I'm okay if both of you outvote me and you want to put him on number 1, that's fine. My suggestion, if either of you are interested, is putting him below Mifa, since it seems like Mifa is pretty hugely responsible for how Sidon is the way he is.
That's a very good point.
It's a power move right here, or a power negotiation tactic right here.
Okay, here's the thing. You can mount Sidon, but does Sidon revive you when you're dead?
No.
I think I could put Mifa above Sidon, but
yeah, I guess so.
Gui doesn't like it.
I mean, the thing is, you had a passionate speech about.
We know you don't want to have a beer with Mifa, but
I'm sorry, but she's too sad.
Beer with Mifa.
Maybe just a glass of Zora wine with Mifa.
Let's do it for now and see how it looks. That's fine.
See how it feels. See how it shakes out.
I'm not mad, you know.
Gui is furious.
Who's next?
Is it you?
You.
Oh, is it me? Okay. Let's do let's do Our Lady Urbosa.
Cool. So
Urbosa's really cool. Urbosa was one of the characters I like to play the most. Like, she just has a cool factor for one. Like that, it's not even really like I don't even have like really deep things to say about it. I just like playing as her in Age of Calamity because the sword lightning attacks were all BA.
Yeah.
I do like her like friendship with Zelda and stuff is really fun. She's one of my top characters for sure. Like just based off of that.
I think she's definitely top 4.
Okay.
For me on the list right now.
I don't know. What's her? I'm trying to think of like what's her big, like struggle. I think she's sort of like a motherly figure to Zelda,
Yeah,
well, but
that's the big.
While also having to be the leader of the Gerudo.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot to carry on your shoulders.
We never really see
broad motherly shoulders.
We never really hear about her struggling with that though, because she was really beloved as a leader.
It's true,
and everyone was like, "Urbosa said it, so let's do it."
She's a powerful
I think the biggest
woman.
thing, yeah, she's a boss lady. She's definitely the biggest boss lady on this list
by far.
I think the big thing for Urbosa, for me, is that the relationship Urbosa had with Zelda's mom.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was like super close personal friends with the queen, and when the queen died, it was like she kind of fulfills that motherly role for Zelda, who really, really needs it.
Yeah. At
the time, and every time she calls her little bird, my heart is like, no.
I know.
Oh, that is sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing about her, and then also she is super fun to play as in Age of Calamity.
Yeah, mostly just because I feel as cool as she seems when I'm playing it, Something clicked when I was playing as that character,
She's
Just,
also
Gotta say,
down enemies. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Corey.
I was just gonna say her champion ability is less useful than some of the other ones for me. It just kind of happens, and I'm like, well, that's good.
I don't know. I plan it out really carefully.
Yeah.
I feel like I
never really thought about using it. I would always just go to do a spin attack or something, and it would happen, and I'd be like, well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Compared to Mipha's Grace or Rivali's Gale,
I'm more with Corey, but I can see how you could, if it was something you were into, you could implement it a lot, but obviously Rivali's Gale, you are more feel the use out of that more frequently, or just you take a hit you didn't expect and you're revived or whatever. And I found Daruk's protection was so key, especially in Thunderblight.
Yeah,
and I used it pretty strategically. So for me, it was the one that stuck out the less. It just felt a more powerful attack or whatever. But I could see how you could use that to great effect. Where do we want to put her?
My suggestion where I would personally put her right now is below Rivali. That's where I would place her.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I personally like her more than Rivali. She'd be in probably my 5 spot or something, or probably my number 5 spot, but I wouldn't be too upset with her there based on the thing you've made kind of a better argument for his character, I think. So I think, sort of see that.
Rivali definitely has more of a character arc than Urbosa does. Urbosa is just BA, straight through, which is great.
Yeah.
But
she reminds me of Sidon as well, Motherly, where it's they're both just these kind of inspiring figures, you know what I mean? So they don't have
kind of in different ways though.
Yeah, definitely.
Very different ways, yeah.
But you don't ever see what kind of makes Rivali interesting is that he's there's certain ways that he sucks, and that's kind of what makes his character interesting.
Yeah, that's why I think he's my favorite characters on this list are the ones that I find the most compelling. The ones that have the most going on under the curtain,
Not to say that she doesn't, but
no, which is why I would put her in that top chunk.
I see your perspective on that, so I could be fine with that.
What do you think, Nico?
Is that bad?
I like that.
Okay.
I think initially I would have put Urbosa above Rivali. But honestly, I just use Rivali more. As far as champion abilities go, I think he's just the better champion.
True.
But Urbosa
definitely
is still so good. And okay, the margin of error between every single one of these rankings is so slim.
Yeah. I think if we were ranking purely who is the coolest, she'd probably be number 1.
She's probably the coolest out of everyone here.
That's a different list.
But we're ranking the champions as champions. And I
think Teba would be much higher if this was strictly on coolness, No,
yeah.
Number 10 for Teba. No.
Okay. Well, who should we do next then, Nico? We got 2 left, right?
Nico.
I'll grab Daruk.
Yes, this is my number 1, I think, actually. I take it back.
I love Daruk a lot. I think he is the coolest Goron that Nintendo has ever written. They have been writing Goron characters for so long, and they finally landed on the perfect personality, who's funny, he has a great ability, he's a cool dad, he's kind of a dork, he's afraid of dogs, I don't know, he's just he's just silly, but he's also so loving and kind and understanding he's like the most fatherly figure in this game, in Breath of the Wild and Age of Calamity, which is funny because the king is in this game and he's not the greatest dad. But I think Daruk, as far as just like character wise, is like S tier. Incredible. I love him. Champion wise, maybe takes a little bit of a dive just because of other people's abilities. Yeah, he's got a big hammer, rock, smash, stone, grabber, whatever. And he can do Daruk's protection.
Daruk's protection is awesome.
I love Daruk's protection. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But for me, Daruk's protection is the thing that just kind of happens. That I never think about.
I'm always drawn to the Gorons. I love, like, he's a classic Goron with some unique things mixed in, you know, like those little bits of character, like definitely more character, you know, especially so with Age of Calamity. But yeah. I've always loved kind of the whole vibe of the Gorons and all, you know, all the way back. He's in the long lineage of, you know, meeting, like, they're these big tough guys, but they're like, you know, Darunia would dance or whatever, and he's afraid of dogs. And I don't know, I always just think they're so cool and funny. And like I said, he doesn't really have like this big struggle necessarily, other than like defeating this great evil or whatever. He's got more of like the hero's story than a lot of these other characters do, as far as it is just like defeat evil. Like, he's there to defeat the evil. He's not there for the drama, you know. You go with Link in the main game, but then with all the characters in it, like, he's one of my favorite like pairings in Age of Calamity, when it's like him with another character, because I feel like the way he's so outrageous that like the way other characters like react with him, you know, it's always very telling, you know. And I think he brings out a lot in the other characters, you know.
I would agree. He's definitely kind of like a hype man for the champions.
Yeah.
Like, we can do this, you know?
He's my favorite one to hear.
You guys rock.
Yeah, his voice
I didn't really like... When everyone else, you know, cuts in, I'm like, okay, that's cool, I got this back. But when he comes in, Daruk's protection is ready to roll. Like,
what an iconic line.
I'm like, it gets me ready to roll, you know?
I'm ready to roll. Line. I like Daruk a lot.
What do you think, Corey? Oh, come on.
Unfortunately, this is the biggest discrepancy in our opinions, I think. I'm not that big on Daruk. Not a big Daruk guy. I like a lot of the things you're saying. I agree with. They're funny. He's goofy. He's charming. But like, I don't know. Like, especially compared to the other main champions, it's like, listen to the way that you guys were explaining it, right? Champions Ballad. We get a bunch of exposition. We get some new stuff for these guys, right? We see how much hard work Rivali has to put in to get to where he's at. We see Mipha and her different roles as a mother figure and her relationship with Zelda. We see Urbosa. I don't even remember Urbosa's. And then we see Daruk, and his big thing is that he's afraid of dogs. I don't know.
Yeah, that's great.
It's funny, but that's even, like you just said, that trope of big tough guy doing a not big tough thing has been around since Ocarina of Time.
Sure.
With Darunia.
Yeah, you gotta pass the torch, you gotta keep it alive, you know?
I like Daruk, but I don't... He's not high on the list. Personally, I wouldn't put him high on the list. Because, like, even that like charming, goofy friendliness, I feel like that's just inherent to almost all of the Gorons you meet. Like, they're all like that.
Yeah.
That's
even
true.
Like random NPCs you meet doing a minigame, they all have like the big goofy smiles and are being really like animated about their opinions and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, I like Daruk, and I wouldn't put him like towards the bottom of this list. I think on this list, I would probably put him above Link. So middle on this list for me. But like, I don't know, because I do agree with a lot of the stuff you guys are saying. I think he's funny. I do like that he's kind of like a hype man for the rest of the champions, because it would be a little bit too much if every single one of them was like super deep in their own thing and had their own really compelling struggle, whereas he's just kind of like a soundboard for them to bounce things off of.
Yeah,
well, that's what I mean. Like, what's fun about him is you pair him up with a random character in a scene, and
yeah, that's cool.
He kind of brings out more of their personality too, you know.
I would probably put him above Riju, right below Urbosa for me. I think personally he is probably my number 4 out of the 4 main champions, but I still love him so much. So it's like, I don't know. But Gooey, I know that he's your favorite.
Yeah, but I just think he's, I don't know. I just personally, I can't come and tell you he has like this very involved story. I just personally like that characterization a lot more. Like, mostly because, like, if I'm gonna be honest, I've agreed with a lot of what you guys said about like all their characters and like their journals and stuff like that, but I don't really remember reading any of that stuff. I'm gonna come out and say it while we're at the end of the video here, almost. Like,
you heard it here first.
I was like, okay, I don't really remember that.
Really care about that.
What I remember is my cool Goron buddy.
Yeah, which is great.
Who got me ready to roll.
So Nico, you were saying Daruk is the most like fatherly character. I didn't get that at all. I think they're trying to emphasize that he's like a bro to Link, like literally like a brother. Like, they talk about how they have things where like they have like little eating contests or something together, and they both love to sit down and eat a bunch of food, and he's just a great
as somebody that
pal
never
to
had a
hang
big
around
brother,
with.
you know, I view that as fatherly.
That's another classic element of Goron's that I've always loved, though, is that sort of like, hey, bro,
brotherhood.
Hey, like,
hello, brother. Hi, Goro.
I'm your big bro.
For each other as brothers, yeah.
There's something comforting about that. I don't know. Maybe I'm the big bro. I don't have a big bro, but I always just like meeting these guys, and I don't know.
To be fair, I think out of all like named Goron characters we have in the series, Daruk is probably my favorite.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So
where
do we place him?
Nico, you said above Riju. I said below Riju.
Yeah.
And Goo, you want him at the top?
Well, I wouldn't try to force him to the. I would
personally, because I feel like we kind of have to just like balance it out, you know, shoot the gap a little bit.
I feel like above Riju is fine. That's fine. Like, if I'm being like,
okay.
Because I feel like you've made stronger, more objective, if that's even possible, arguments for everyone else. So I'm not going to try to like force him above someone who, you know, clearly has like more of a character arc or whatever. But for me, I'm sort of getting a different thing from Breath of the Wild when I play it too, you know?
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Well,
all right.
This leaves
Zelda. Zelda should actually, that's the one, maybe because it's the most storyline that like is like, there's like cutscenes and everything. It's like the most clear, it's like the main storyline of the game, like in terms of like the flashbacks and it's like the ending.
Actually kind of wild how much this game is actually about Zelda.
It's about Zelda, yeah. I think Zelda is the number one character.
This is like the first Zelda game that was like, oh no, the most of the story is actually about Zelda.
Yeah,
I really liked her story in the game for sure.
A lot. She's my favorite iteration of the princess.
Me too. And even besides like the main required story stuff that you do and see about Princess Zelda, there is so much. She has 2 diaries basically, and you get
what a nerd.
Pretty much all basically all important cutscenes in the game have her in them pretty much.
It's true. She's been fighting, holding off Calamity Ganon for 100 years.
She's 117 years old.
She's
Dang.
old.
She looks good for 117.
She looks great.
I think like too, like her story in the flashbacks is really cool. Like her struggling with like she's like the opposite of like Link, where you kind of don't really get much about how he really is struggling with sort of this destiny. Where I think out of all the champions, like you get that from her obviously because you see her trying to go to the different springs or whatever and try to awaken her power, and then you know what I mean, like that final moment where she actually does, you know, is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's just so, I feel like she's just got such a complex thing going on, even compared to everyone on this list, because it's like she has pressure from her dad as a father, she has pressure from the kingdom. The only person who could possibly teach her about this is her mother, who has died. She has support from a mother figure, but who is also like in this dutiful situation. And then the only thing she's trying to do, because she can't activate her powers, is help by doing research.
Yep.
And she's getting a bunch of flack for that.
Because she needs to be the princess.
Yeah. And just seeing her like take out this frustration on Link in some of these cutscenes, it's like it makes so much sense why any person feeling all of that stuff would do that, you know?
She's got the most going on, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I think I think she should be number one, actually. I don't know how you feel.
I think I would agree.
Put her up there.
I think
I don't like playing as her in Age of Calamity, but
I will say
I like playing as her when you get the like the awakened powers version.
Yes, they're super cool.
Yeah.
This was sort of like, I don't know, Breath of the Wild was supposed to be like a return to the basics, right? While also creating sort of like a new playing experience. And I think what Nintendo decided to do was maybe fix a mistake from, 30 plus years before, where they made Zelda the hopeless, helpless princess. And she's just, that's the end goal, save the princess. And do you save the princess in this game? You sure do. But you know what? You could not have done it without every single person on this list, including
I don't think
the princess herself.
Necessarily them correcting that, because the series, ever since like Ocarina of Time, Zelda's been an active character in the story, you know. So I think it. Yeah.
This is just the one where she's taken like the lead more than any other one. Like she's doing.
Yeah.
She created this group. She got the champions together to defeat the Calamity, and
that's true. Yeah,
this is her doing, and
it's while also still being pretty classic, because like it is very like the opening. It just makes me think of A Link to the Past too, where she like telepathically comes to you, and, which is something I love about that game. You know, it's very throwback, very new.
Honestly, I don't even feel like... I don't feel that sense of saving the princess at all in this. I don't feel like I'm saving her. I feel like I'm tagging in because she's been doing the work for 100 years.
She saved you.
Yeah. And then you show up, and it's just that extra support that allows you to be like, all right, finish the job.
You know? Show up in your underwear, and you're like, oh, sorry, 1 second, I slept in.
Whoa.
Oh man.
Yeah, she's great.
Well, what do you guys say? Oh, go ahead.
If I was controlling Link back when he first fought Calamity Ganon, it wouldn't have gone down like that.
Well, let me tell you, you can. All you have to do is
I don't die to Calamity Ganon.
Age of Calamity.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, this is a pretty good looking list.
Is there anything you guys would want to change?
I think it looks pretty fair. Like, I don't know. I think this is kind of where a lot of the characters end up on a lot of people's list, right? Like I don't even think there's a lot of hot takes here, right?
I think Link is lower than most people would put, but I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, there are a few characters I see
different...
people like ferociously argue about all the time, and Link is one where it's like, is he no character? Is he actually super deep or whatever? And I feel like it's actually more like in the I feel like of him as kind of a middle character.
Yeah, he's pretty mid.
But
yeah.
But then again, I don't really dislike anyone.
They're all great characters.
These definitely are. I actually do really like all of these characters. There's none of them that I dislike.
That's what Breath of the Wild did really well. They made characters that we love, and that's why I was okay with Age of Calamity happening. I was like, yeah, more time with these characters. Because I just love all of them.
I want to give a special shout out to Impa, to Purra, Robbie. Are we missing anyone?
What's her face? The other girl.
Monk
You're all
Maz
champions.
Koshia?
Monk Maz Koshia.
Okay. Playing as Monk Maz is really fun.
He's actually my favorite.
Impa was pretty much on the team if you watch Age of Calamity.
Oh, Impa rocks.
Well, and just in Breath of the Wild, but
Impa is basically a champion, but for some reason not allowed to be an official champion. But
sorry, we only have 10 spots. Okay, now you're getting a little carried away.
Yeah, Paya.
The guy that paints?
He's cool.
The Bloopy?
The Bloopy.
Hold on. All right,
what about all four great fairies?
They're cool. Yeah, that's 11, 12, 13, 14.
And 14.
Then Impa.
And then the Bloopies.
All right. Let's get out of here before this list gets out of control.
Oh, man.
Thanks, everyone, for checking out this video. Leave a comment, other top 10s or tiers. Well, no, this is a tier. This is not a top 10.
Yeah, this is a tier. With 10 spots.
Let us know what else you'd like us to cover, and we will see you again next month.
Goodbye.
Peace out.